Hello Manchester Academy, welcome back to our virtual reading programme. This week is Autobiography this week, and I've chosen a new autobiography by Freya Lewis. It's called What Makes Us Stronger, and she was at the Ariana Grande concert on the 22nd of May in 2017, and this is her story. Chapter 1, News. A barrage of noise crashed through my consciousness. Clanking, shouting, murmurs of conversations. My first thought was that I was in a hotel somewhere abroad. Then I realised that I couldn't move my body and a creeping fear slid over me. My eyes felt so heavy like they'd been zipped shut, but I forced them open. Through my smudged vision, I could see half shapes floating around in the dark room. Everything was blurry, making me feel dizzy and sick. Squinting, I could make out drips, tubes, wires. A monotonous, high-pitched beep, beep, beep rang in my ears. A slight light was shining on my dad's face to my right, and I felt an instant wave of relief because I knew that if my parents were there, then everything would be all right. Only, as my eyes adjusted to the dimly lit surroundings, I could see that he had his head in his hands. His skin was pale and drained, his eyes heavy with bags pulling them down underneath. I felt scared again. He looked up. "Hi," he said, then carried on talking to a woman in a blue uniform who I hadn't noticed until then. She broke away from the conversation and walked towards me. "Freya, we're going to give you more feed now," she said. I didn't say yes or no because I had no idea what was going on. My head was too groggy. I realised that there was a tube up my nose and suddenly became aware that I was finding it hard to breathe, as if something heavy had been placed on my chest. The rest of my body felt completely numb, and I felt trapped. Gripped with terror, I lay staring at the ceiling as Dad started talking to me. I ran my tongue around my gums and my stomach lurched as the usually smooth surface felt raw and fleshy. I felt too scared to speak out of this alien mouth, but my head was filled with questions that I needed to know. "What happened?" Dad paused for a beat and then replied gently, "There was an attack at the arena." To begin with, his words didn't sink in at all. Part of me was still convinced that we were in another country, but also part of me didn't want to believe what he was saying. We lived in a small, safe village where nothing bad could ever happen to you. It couldn't be possible. But no matter how much I tried to ignore him, my mind wandered away from where we were. Not a hotel, but a hospital. Back to the concert, raking through my thoughts and trying to unpick the muddle of images, figures, noises. Slowly, I started to remember that I had been walking with someone, and as I lay there, I felt a strange sense of emptiness, like a part of me was missing. I started to remember a blush pink top and denim shorts, and then I remembered I'd been with my best friend Nell. Gradually, these fragments of memories started to slot together like pieces of a strange jigsaw puzzle. We had been at the Ariana Grande concert together when something terrible had happened. A bomb. I was hurt, was put in an ambulance. But Nell, I couldn't remember what had happened to Nell. I assumed she must be here with me somewhere on this ward. "Dad, where's Nell?" I croaked, finding it hard to get the words out, as if I'd lost the ability to speak. I couldn't move my head much, but I cast my eyes around the room as much as I could, expecting him to point towards a curtain sheltering the next bay. He looked at me, then looked straight at the floor in silence. I had seen that expression once before, after my granddad had passed away, and a twisted, acid knot of fear settled in the pit of my stomach. Tentatively, I repeated the question, "Dad, where's Nell?" He held my hand, and I saw his eyes were getting redder. "Nell has died, Freya." His voice was choked with tears. I stared up at the ceiling, my brain flooded with confusion, absolutely convinced that she must be there with me. Dad started properly crying as I kept thinking, this doesn't make sense. She can't be dead. She can't be dead. I went into some sort of shock, and in that moment, it felt like time stood still. I was aware that everything was still going on around me, but it was as if I couldn't hear or see anything as I tried to process the gravity of what Dad said, my brain struggling to believe it was true. Then his words sunk into me so hard that it felt as though I'd been stabbed. A dull pain spread through my numbed body, all hope slowly draining from me. This can't be happening. How can this be happening? We were just at the concert. We were singing, we were dancing, we were laughing. She told me. It was too much to take in. Sinking into the sheets, I started to cry. Patchy moments from the night terrorising my memories, as in my groggy state I tried to make sense of what was real and what was not. I lay like this for 2 hours, lost in despair and confusion. My tears mingled with the most earth-shattering shock. Later, Dad gently placed a small fluffy toy owl on my chest. "Nell's mum dropped this off," he said, his voice soft, trembling. "It's Nell's from when she was little. It was her favourite. Her mum wanted you to have it." I peered at the owl's cute beaky face, his fur matted in the way that only cuddly toys which have been hugged 1,000 times over are, and vaguely remembered that I had seen him on Nell's bed when we chatted on FaceTime. I managed to reach over with my finger and stroke its little face. Dad put him next to my cheek, and I instantly smelled Nell and her home. It made me think about her family, particularly her mum, and I felt the first cold slaps of guilt which would haunt me for a long time to come. That I was here when Nell wasn't. How must she be coping? A fresh wave of heartbreak climbed over me as the realization began to dawn that I'd never see my beautiful friend's smiling face again. I scrunched my eyes shut tight, trying to block out the horrifying reality I'd woken up to. There had been an explosion, and life would never be the same again.